Hi folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. I was in Walmart the other day, and you're going to think, because I've mentioned this before, but it's very accessible. It's an easy place to get into, and there's a lot of things that you can quickly access. So the fact that I'm in there doesn't make me a Walmart freak. But anyway, I was in the sporting goods part of Walmart, and a guy comes up to me, and I could see by his face that he recognized me and wanted to talk to me, and so we began a conversation. And I said, "So what's new?" He said, "Well, I was in Wheat House Bay, that's in Ogdensburg," and he said, "I was perch fishing the other day," and he said, and I probably had to draw some of this out of him because fishermen tend to be pretty much secretive. But he was so open, a big smile on his face. He said, "I had wonderful perch fishing." I said, "Tell me more. Tell me, were the fish deep?" He said, "Well, about 20 feet down, 10 to 20 feet. He said, "I was using the two-hook method." So what this method is there's a sinker at the bottom of your line. Then above the sinker, how many inches you want to tie on a hook. Then you have your bait. And then above that, a second hook up so many inches or feet above that. So you have two baits out, but you have your weight on the bottom. So your bait isn't on the bottom. He said he was using minnows, and he said, "Oh my gosh, we caught 40 or I forget the number, but it was a lot of perch." And he was so happy about that because that's wonderful fishing. And I said, "So how big were the perch?" He said there was a number of them up to 14 inches. Now, I got to tell you, you catch a 14-inch perch, and remember, we glamorize, we pray at the altar of walleyes, a lot of us, because walleyes are wonderful eating. But remember, walleyes aren't pike, they're perch. They're just like their cousins, the yellow perch. And you catch a 14-inch yellow perch, and that's like catching a small walleye. But it's legal, and it's a fabulous fish. And right now, this time of the year, there's experiences people are having all over that are similar to that. If you go perch fishing, this is a banner time to get into schools of big perch. Now, at the same time, I was talking to my buddy Dave, who lives down on Cayuga Lake, and Dave said, "Well, I finally got my boat out." He has a pontoon boat, and I went perch fishing with my neighbor. And I says, "Well, Dave, tell me about it. What happened?" He says, "Well, we caught at least 60 perch." He said, "We kept, I guess, 20 or 30 of them between the two of them." And I said, "So what were you using?" He said, "We're using minnows." But here's the interesting thing. Dave was fishing with the same exact rig. And he had, just like I just described about the guy that was fishing Wheat House Bay. But here's what he told me that he was sort of surprised at. He said 75 or 85% of the perch were caught on the bottom hook. They weren't caught on the upper hook. They were caught on the bottom hook, again using minnows. But here's another interesting thing. He said, along with the perch, we caught 3 bullhead on the minnows. And I was a bit surprised, not fascinated, but a bit surprised, because usually when we're fishing bullheads, we use worms. You know, that's a great family outing right now. And don't forget, this is a wonderful time for bullhead fishing. But the bullheads were hitting the minnows. So great stories. And I love to pass on the stories I get from other fishermen. That's what really this radio report is all about. And this is a banner time right now to go perch fishing. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.